Hello, everybody. I know many of us are upset that our stay-home order is extended for another month, and we are asking ourselves how in the world we're going to survive another month of this. But let me tell you something that might be helpful. First of all, today is Rosh Chodesh. Tonight is Shabbos. Today is 15th day of the Omer, which is 2 weeks and 1 day. So many good things are happening as well. So talking about Omer, you know what's peculiar? What's interesting is that Torah commands us to count days from Pesach till Shavuos. Shavuos is the only holiday that doesn't have a calendar day in Torah, but depends on the 50th day after Pesach. Besides that, there's a commandment, as we know, called Sfiras HaOmer, to count the Omer. But the question is, what's more interesting is, how do we count? And when I told you today that today is 15th day, I said it's 15th day, which is 2 weeks and 1 day. And you might ask, why are you telling us this? 15, we know how to count. 15 means 2 weeks and 1 day. But that's exactly what Torah commands. For some reason, Torah says it's not enough just to count 49 days till 50th day of a holiday, but also to count weeks. Sheva Shabbos Tmimos Tihiyeno. It should be 7 complete weeks. And then, Umimacharas HaShabbos HaShvi Tispiru Chamishim Yom. And then it will be 50th day. So Torah commands us to count weeks as well as days. And that's what we do. The question is, why? Again, in math, it should be the same. And it is the same. 15 days and 4 weeks and 2 weeks and 1 day, it's the same thing. So why? And the answer is that it's rooted in the very beginning of the Torah, in the creation itself. Torah tells us that Hashem created, as we know, Hashem created the world in 6 days, and 7th day is Shabbos. So this is the key point. 7th day is Shabbos. What happens after Shabbos? Is it day number 8? No. It is a day number 1 again. Because our life is punctuated by weeks. It's not just days and days and days, and today it could be day number 5,635. No. Every year, month is punctuated by weeks. Jewish people live by number 7. There's no number 8. We live 6 days, there's a Shabbos, and then cycle is reset. And again, why? Because day without special days, without holidays, think about the origin of the word holiday, holy day. Life without holidays, without holy days, is boring. It's not the same. But it's not just that. It's not just it's boring. Let me tell you a story. A man walks in the woods and hears a noise of a saw. Somebody is sawing the wood, the tree. He comes and sees a man with a huge saw, you know those, and he's sawing manual, not electric saw, manual saw. He's sawing a huge trunk, and he sees the man is perspiring and his face is red, and he says, "Aren't you tired?" He says, "I'm very, very tired." And then the guy sees that the saw is dull. After so many hours of sawing, he says, "Maybe you should stop and sharpen your saw." And the man answers him, "I don't have time. I don't have time to stop and sharpen the saw. I have to cut the wood. I have to saw the wood." So this sounds silly to us, right? But many of us do the same. Sometimes we feel that stopping and sharpening the saw will pull us back from what we need to accomplish. It will be like a waste of time. But it's opposite. Because if we would stop and sharpen our saw, we would accomplish so much more. And that's exactly what Shabbos does to us. It's a sharpening our saw, sharpening ourselves. It's recreating, not just next week, it's recreating ourselves. Think about this. When Shabbos comes, we're taught that the special soul comes into us. Shabbos is different and has to be different. We should be dressed differently. Even if we stay at home, we should dress differently. Table should be set differently. Food is different. Prayers are different. Candles lighting, and families around us. Our conversation, Jewish law dictates that our conversation even should be different. This is a special day. This is opportunity to stop and sharpen our saw and start new week. Not as number 8, but as number 1. In Talmud, it's called Yerida Litzorech Aliyah. It means when Talmud discusses somebody also chopping the wood, what you do, you lower your axe in order to swing it stronger. So if you take a snapshot of a guy lowering and stop, you might say, why is he lowering his axe? Isn't he supposed to make it higher in order to chop from top down? And the answer is yes. This way, he will chop stronger. It's called Yerida Litzorech Aliyah. It's necessary part of our life. It's not Yerida, it's Aliyah. It's Yerida Litzorech Aliyah. And that's what Shabbos is. And that's why when we count Omer, we don't just count days, 49 days. No, they're punctuated by weeks. Every week we stop and we rest and we recharge. And this Parsha Tazria, when it talks about a lady who is given birth, it says on the 8th day you should do circumcision. It's the only 8th day in this boy's life. Because after that, after he becomes a real Jew, and after he enters this covenant and keeps Shabbos, there's no more number 8. We'll live by number 7. You know, this story about the saw that I just told you, there's another story that happened many, many years ago. And this story happened in Egypt, in Mitzrayim, when Jewish people were enslaved, as we know, for 210 years. And they couldn't bear it anymore. And what Midrash tells us that Moshe, their leader, he comes to Pharaoh and he says, even a good slave owner gives their slaves the rest in order that they should be stronger, that they should work better. The same idea. You have to stop, you have to sharpen the saw. And Pharaoh was smart enough to understand and agree, and he says, okay, pick a day. Pick any day and let them rest. And of course, this is Moshe's plan to give Jewish people Shabbos. And that's how Jewish people were kept Shabbos, even though everything else was forbidden. But that's what kept them alive. That's what kept their faith, emunah, that one day come, they will be free. And if it helped Jewish people for 210 years to survive the goals, it surely should help us to survive another month. If you punctuate your weeks with Shabbos, it could be for sure, it should be no problem to survive another month. I wish everybody a great Shabbos, a great Rosh Chodesh. And next time, when you count Omer, think about this. We don't just count days, we count weeks, because we live by weeks. A Jew lives by number 7. There's no number 8. There's no days 8 in our lives. There's 7, and then there's 1 when we recharge and we start again. Good Shabbos.